Ladies and gentlemen, certainly happy to have you here at the 47th Annual Cancer Control Society Convention, Labor Day weekend 2019, located in Hilton, Glendale, California. We're also very happy to have back with us Dr. David Kellogg. He is a naturopath, and he doesn't like to be called doctor, sorry about that, because he thinks that doesn't like to be called doctor because those people who can't help the people they see. Some of the weekend too, a little bit more about detoxification, and I think that's one of his specialties. And again, David, very happy to have you. And he's going to do 2 hours of detoxification in 25 minutes.
25 minutes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the other reason I don't like to be called doctor is because California has their own laws, and in California it's illegal for somebody to call me doctor. Well, actually, they're not breaking the law. I'm breaking the law. So I always tell people, I'm not a doctor, don't call me the same thing as all the people that couldn't help you get well. That serves no purpose whatsoever. So I always say, I am not a doctor. If you want to know the difference between a traditional naturopath and a medical naturopath, go to my website, put in the word naturopath, there's an article on it. So 2 hours of detoxification in 25 minutes, that's not the easiest thing in the world. But thankfully, in order to help that, I have given Cancer Control my slides. They will be put up on their website for free. So don't madly copy down anything. If it's on the slide, you're going to have it. If they don't have the slides up within a couple of weeks, I will put them on my website for all of you for free so that you can download them. So you don't have to madly copy anything down. So basically, detoxification is the removal or the reduction of poisons from your body tissues. And there are lots of different ways we can do that, but that's what you're trying to do. One of the things I'm very much against, and a lot of people are doing this, is any of the 1 week, 10-day, 2-week cleanses that people do. And it doesn't matter whether it's called a cleanse or a liver detox or a gallbladder detox or a kidney detox. It's not the right way to do things. You can massively overload your system and move yourself backwards. And the way I explain that is, if it were possible, which thankfully it is not, to remove only 50% of all the poisons that have slowly accumulated in your body over the last many decades, whether you're 30 or 50 or 60 or 80 or 90 or whatever. It's taken a long, long time. If in as little as 1 or 2 weeks you could remove 50% of that, it would kill most of you. Because you can't take 40, 60, 80 years of poisons and move them through your detox pathways in 2 weeks without overloading them so much that you'd shut down your liver, shut down your kidneys, and you'd be dead, which is not a good idea and not what we're trying to promote with anybody. So I like slower detoxes that don't cause those problems. Our main detox organs, everybody should know, are your liver and your kidneys. Possibly if you've donated one, it would be your kidney instead of kidneys. The 2005 report from the Environmental Working Group, EWG.org, showed some really interesting things because they took cord blood from newborns and they contracted with a number of different laboratories around the world, not just around the US, and they sent them parts of what was taken from the cord blood to find out what is already in us before we are barely born. In other words, it came in from mom. And they found 287 chemicals because mom was exposed to all of them, and sadly, the mother uses the fetus as a waste dump. Obviously, that's not happening on purpose, but that's what happens. And so they found 287 different chemicals in the cord blood of the newborns, which means that they've been getting all of that in the 9 months they were inside mom. So the goal is very clear. We have to do this properly. It's got to be done in the correct order so we don't cause an overload. Most people don't even know about doing things in different orders. First, we have to begin by cleaning out the liver and the kidneys. And that is a detox. You are detoxifying as you're cleaning those 2 organs. But if you don't have those organs clean enough, then as you usher other parts of your body's poisons, so in other words, we've got poisons all over the place, and if you use various different substances, which we'll cover a couple of, that help promote the body to dump poisons from your other tissues, where we do want to get them out, it dumps them into the bloodstream, and they get filtered out. The kidneys and the liver are where they end up, then they have to go through them into our urine and our stool, and so we need those 2 working correctly. If your toilet isn't working, and you keep on going in your toilet, we don't want to know what your bathroom's going to look like. If your kidneys and your liver are not working and you keep on bringing new things to try and get them out when they have to go through your kidneys and liver, we don't want to know what that's going to do to your system, your immune system, the way you feel, etc. So after we've done that, which takes a while, then we can begin to either flush out or pull out or chelate, which means to bind, dozens and dozens of other substances that are in tissues all over your body. After we get the kidneys and liver working correctly, which is also detoxing. So you don't have to say, well, but I want to start detoxing immediately. No, no, no. If you're cleaning your kidneys and you're cleaning your liver, that is also a detox, but we need to do that before we pull them from other tissues. Those are just a few of the examples. You can go to the Environmental Working Group's website. You can go to the Environmental Protection Agency's website. There are hundreds of chemicals that are in every single one of us to different degrees. I'd like to hope that they are much lower in me because of the amount of detox that I have done over the last 25 years and continue to do, because we can't stop it from coming in. You can slow it down, but you can't stop it, so you have to keep it coming out. That's just a couple of examples of some of the things that are in all of us. So many, many people get sick every time they try to lose weight. Have people that say, you know, I'm 75 pounds overweight, I'm 150 pounds overweight, and every time I diet, I feel like crap. I'm never going to diet in that case. I go, no, we can correct that very, very easily. The reason that's occurring is because as you are trying to lose weight, poisons are coming out of those fat cells that you're trying to either get rid of or diminish, and they're going through your overloaded kidneys and liver. So we do maybe 2 months worth of kidney and liver support, which I'm going to continue. They might do it for 3 years, but after a couple months worth, they're now working so much better that now when they start to lose weight, whether it's with my program or anybody else's program, wow, I don't get sick anymore as I'm trying to lose weight. That's right. Because the organs, kidneys and liver, that all the poisons that are coming out of those excess fat cells are dumping are no longer being overloaded. So very, very, very important. And that's what I just said. So if you do adequate kidney liver support, that gets avoided. If you do adequate kidney liver support, all sorts of different conditions get avoided, because we are a toxic waste dump, and the more we can do something about that, the better off we are. Now, it took me a lot of years worth of looking and testing on myself, on family members, on different patients, but carefully, to find which are the best liver products and the best kidney products that are out there. And I want to say a couple different things real quick. Number one, I don't own any supplement company. I do not sell anything to the public. I only carry things for my own patients. So I'm not involved in any of the various different companies I'm talking about. If I mention a company, it's because their products I have found to be terrific. You can't buy them from me. I don't have enough time to do that. I just sell to my patients. It's just the products that I like best. Very, very simple. And it took a long, long time to find them. Kinesiology, which is usually called muscle testing, is by far the best way to pick the correct liver and kidney support for you, the correct multivitamin for you, the correct detoxification products for you, and most people don't understand it whatsoever. Do not believe your doctor when they say, oh, your labs show your kidneys and liver are fine. I'm looking at your labs and there's no problem. Your doctors have been misled by the medical schools. And it's not their fault. You know, they get misled and they believe it. BUN, creatinine, and estimated glomerular filtration rate are the kidney function tests that they generally use, and ALT and AST, which used to be called SGOT and SGPT, are for liver function. These tests will never tell you or the doctor or anybody else looking at the lab results that those organs are 30% below par, 40% below par, 50% below par, 60% below par, because the numbers don't begin to elevate outside of what they call normal ranges until that organ is over 65%, and some of the experts say over 75 or 80%, not doing its job as well as it should be. So they don't get to see it's getting worse, it's getting worse, it's getting worse, it's getting worse. All they get to see is, oh my God, that's not working correctly. Yeah, but if you'd handled that beforehand and cleaned them out, you'd never get to that point. And that's very, very important for people to understand. They simply don't elevate out of those ranges until they're well above 60%, not doing their job correctly. Now we found out, just in the last 5 years, which makes things even worse, that they've isolated a number of different chemical agents which, while they're poisoning the liver, also poison its ability to send out the elevated enzymes to let the doctor know the liver's not working. So the liver can look perfect and be in even worse shape that I've just described because it's been poisoned by some of those chemicals that prevent it from sending out the messengers that make that lab test go up. So that makes things even worse than it was before. So when it comes to detoxification, muscle testing is fantastic, but most practitioners do it very poorly. They often produce bogus results. I'm not sure whether they're doing it on purpose to try to sell supplements, or whether they just don't know what they're doing. I don't know. Can't get inside their brain. You know, if somebody's telling you something that you personally know is wrong, if you can't be inside their brain, which at the moment we can't be, I'm not sure if I'd want to be in somebody else's brain, but in any event, if you can't be inside their brain, you never know whether somebody is ignorant, which simply means they don't know something, or lying, which means they do know and they're telling you a fib on purpose. We don't know. I don't like to say that doctors are lying. I don't want to think that doctors are lying. Some of them maybe. The majority of doctors are ignorant. They don't know what they don't know. They're telling you something they believe and they're wrong because they were given incorrect information. You know, it's hard to get mad at somebody for saying something that they believe when it's wrong. I instead get mad when they're not willing to look and see some of these other things that they're being told to see if maybe they might be right, even though they were taught otherwise. That's just, I call it arrogant ignorance. So, for a really good presentation on the subject of muscle testing, totally free, go to my website, davidgetoff.com, will redirect you to the website. Click on that particular photograph. It's all the way down the bottom of the homepage, and it will bring you to a 90-minute presentation that I gave at the Best Answer for Cancer conference, which is a medical conference. And my slides are all there. They're yours for free. The 90-minute lecture is all there. So download the slides onto your computer or watch them online and click the MP3 and listen to my lecture while you are advancing the slides yourself because it wasn't videotaped. And you've got that for free. When somebody says, muscle testing, you're talking about that horrible garbage, and you're not going to remember all that, send them there. It doesn't cost them anything. They can take a look and they can see a really good presentation on what is and what is not muscle testing. It's a really good lecture. So, got that? It could take some people way over a month, and occasionally 3 or 4 months, just to get their liver and kidneys cleaned out enough that we can get the kidney and liver products that they're taking, whichever one they happen to be, up to the dose I want them to be taking. Because maybe if it's 15 drops of 2 different substances twice a day, and somebody is so toxic and their system is working so badly that they've got to start at 2 drops twice a day. Because 5 drops twice a day makes them feel like they were run over by a truck. So we have to go up very, very, very slowly without reactions to slowly get to the full level, whatever that might be, and I don't care how long it takes. I don't ever want anybody to push through a detox reaction. It's called a Herxheimer reaction, and more people that I have heard, oh, well, this other health practitioner I work with said, oh, that's good, that's a good thing. It means we're doing the right thing, because it means we're getting poisons out. No, it doesn't. It means you're hurting me. Please slow down. That's the symptom is. You feel lousy when you're doing something that removes poisons. That's the body raising its hand and saying, you're hurting me, would you please stop? Will you please slow down? You don't push through that. Very bad idea. You slow down, you do it at a slower pace, and you just do it for a longer amount of time at a slower pace, and then you try going up again. Never start pulling chemicals out of an already sick body at a speed which causes further damage, which we call a symptom. People don't understand this. Health practitioners don't understand this. If you want to speed things up because you're in a hurry, you've got stage 3 or stage 4 cancer, you're very environmentally sensitive, you've been that way for years and years and years, and somebody says, this particular man or woman is finally going to be able to help you if you do what they say. And so you want to speed things up. So how can we speed things up without causing those reactions? Well, we have to use binding agents instead of pulling agents or mobilizing agents, or coffee enemas. So let's take a look at the difference. The top 3 are binding agents. ACC Nano, again, I have no association with these companies, happens to be my favorite of the clinoptilite zeolite products that removes heavy metals. You have to shake it up real well because it settles, and you spray it in your mouth. Any different type of activated charcoal, and these are the 2 I've found that are made in the United States with very small particle size, so they bind better. These are binding agents. That means as you take them and they go through your body, they're not forcing tissues all over your body to dump stuff, which could cause a big reaction. They're instead latching onto and binding anything that they are able to, that's a toxic substance, that they touch. That's not the same as mobilizing it from everywhere, which can overload you easily. So these do much less of any overloading. Sometimes they don't do any, as they just grab things. It may turn your stool gray or black because charcoal does that, but it's not going to overload. They're even still used, the charcoals, in poison control centers. The ones on the bottom are a sample of a small number of the 60 or 80 different products I use in my office, which are not binding agents. They are mobilizing agents. They tell the body, okay, if it's the one for Roundup, it's going to start pulling all the poisonous substances in Roundup out of you into your bloodstream to be mobilized. And probably during this conference, my guess is you may hear the word glyphosate many times in place of the word Roundup. Every time you hear that, I want you to think that person isn't totally up to date. Because the person that did all that research, Professor Giles Eric Cirilini, who I've heard many times, released to us at the Environmental Health Symposium about 4 months ago that glyphosate is not the toxic substance in Roundup. Glyphosate actually is their way, Monsanto's way, of hiding what's really going on. In the words inert ingredients are a whole bunch of toxic substances that they don't have to tell you what they are. And when Professor Cirilini sprayed glyphosate on a bunch of tomato plants, they didn't die. He had to spray all the things in the inert group. So there's a whole bunch of other stuff in there. Glyphosate is not good for us, but it's not really the main ingredient. It's the stuff listed as inert ingredients, and hopefully there'll be more research coming out on that. All right, fastest way to aid detoxification will probably always be, unless something else comes up, coffee enemas. And it's a fascinating way to do things. If you put the word coffee into the search box on the top of my website, you can watch Dr. Gonzalez's excellent, very short talk, I think it was maybe 3 minutes, he was being interviewed, on coffee enemas. And you can learn a bunch of things about them, including the medically published research that's been done on them in many countries, in many journals, and the fact that it used to be in our physician's reference, which was the Merck Manual, until about 1973, and the doctors don't know about it. So then you can have your doctor look at that. When you say, I'm doing coffee enemas, the doctor says, that's nonsense. Doc, do me a favor. I'm going to send you a link to this website and have him watch this video, or her watch the video, and they'll go, wow, I didn't know. So they're equally great for cancer as well as environmentally ill people or people with multiple chemical sensitivity. And you can find directions on the web through the Gerson Institute, wherever you want to get proper directions on doing them correctly. Gerson will promote people to do 4, 5, 6, or 7 a day. You're living Gerson. And of course, Gerson saved a lot of lives, so I have nothing against that. But if you can even do 1 5 days a week, that is so much better than none at all that it's worthwhile. And I've had patients in multiple chemical sensitivity. This one woman, she asked me after a year and a half when she finally did her first one, David, why didn't you push me more into doing this? She said, I felt so much better the day after that coffee enema. Oh my God, that was amazing. Why didn't you push me? I said, that's not the way I work. I don't push. I tell you how good it is, and you get to decide what you're going to do. So now she does them all the time. She calls them her coffee breaks. So they help the body dump poisons directly out of the liver, directly out of the gallbladder, even if somebody doesn't have a gallbladder with a bunch of bile, without forcing it through the liver and kidneys, and therefore you're speeding things up without all these toxic overloads that I don't want. My favorite liver and kidney products are right there. The 2 big boxes, Apohepat and Renilix, are made in Germany. They're homeopathic spagyrics. I probably have 60% of my patients on those. The next 2 bottles, Liver Balance Plus and Kidney Rescue, are from the Pure Body Institute of Ventura in California. I probably have about 30% on those. And then those other 2 from Unda are from Belgium. And there are actually quite a number of others that I occasionally use. But just between the boxes on the left and then the bottle right to the right of it, that would make up close to 90% of all the people I have. And EliteAlternatives.net is run by a nurse, and she started that just to help get, to make available some of the detox stuff that I talk about without it being through me, because I don't have time to do any of this. And the company, the drops from Germany, they don't want their stuff to the general public because it may be taken wrong, it may, all sorts of different reasons, but they allow me to do this through her, or allow her to do it, because it goes out with my direction sheet, the same one I hand out in my office. So those are the ones I like best. My book, Abundant Health in the Toxic World, which, like Frank said, I will be signing during various different breaks in the exhibit hall, is going over not just detoxification, because that's not good enough. I go over a lot of other different things. 3-hour video on detoxification, 2 or 3 hour video on cancer. I had a hard time with the title. I finally settled on Your Doctor's Lack of Knowledge Can Shorten Your Life, which is a very simple but correct way to put it. And then recently, as it says down on the bottom, if you go to my website, there's a big green banner. If you click on that banner, it brings you to the Vimeo site where I am making it available for people to rent my videos. So detoxification video has been selling for $40 for years, cancer videos $77 for years. I completely updated them, added a whole bunch of additional notes, and they're now able for you to rent them instead for $12.95. So you can just get them on the website. Water is very important for detox. And I have a recently updated water article, totally free, on my website. Again, put the word water into the search box and it will get you to the water article. It's about 5-6 pages. I want people to be drinking a water with a pH of 7 to 8.5. In other words, I don't want it to be acid. Any water bottle company that doesn't list the pH in the bottle is acid. Because since it would be a selling point to tell you that it's 7 or above, they don't tell you if it's below 7. If it's 7 or above, it's a selling point. They're going to let you know. So it'll be on the bottle somewhere. Fiji and Volvic are 2 of the ones I like, but there are certainly many, many others out there. I do not like any of the electrical water alkalizers where they're being plugged into the wall in addition to connecting to your faucet, because we do not make water alkaline by ripping its molecules molecularly apart in an electrical chamber. That's not the way we make healthy water. Healthy water is water that already has a high enough mineral content that there isn't a problem. And distilled water has no business in the human body. Distilled water has no energy in it. It should be used in car batteries, steam irons, indoor waterfalls, so you don't have a whole bunch of mineral deposits on them. Spring water, Fiji, Volvic, those are not the only ones. There are a whole bunch of others. Down on the bottom is simply my favorite a whole house water filter company. I've been dealing with them for 40 years. The MR500 stainless steel or 700 just came out. And waterhasamemory.com is a fascinating website, because water does have a memory, and the people that don't believe in homeopathy need to read some of the really good books on it. But water does have a memory. That's a great website. You can learn some things on there. Another great detoxification substance is glutathione. Everybody's body in here, hopefully, manufactures some amount of glutathione every day. It is helpful to neutralize and detoxify all sorts of poisons. It's one of, if not the strongest antioxidant yet known. There are 3, and numerous bad ones. There are 3 really good liposomal glutathione products that I found on the market of the dozens that I have done testing on. Those are the 3. Again, don't rush copy them. You're going to have all these slides. You can take a look at the pictures. You can print them out, whatever you want. And then every time somebody says, well, he probably didn't test mine because it's great. No, I probably did. Those are the 3 that I like. And then I found something that was hard to believe in a research article entitled A New Way to Increase Glutathione Levels in the Body, published by the Hippocrates Institute, and that's the volume number that was published in. The researcher is a friend of mine, actually, Dr. Steve Halterwanger. He's an MD and a clinical nutritionist. And when I saw that he had published a study showing that a patch that doesn't have anything but energy in it could be put on your body, and that the energy would go into your body and prompt your body's systems to increase the amount of glutathione you make by 300 to 500%, I said, I have a hard time with that. The way I say it in my classes is all of my bullshit alarms started going off. I said, this can't be. So I called up Steve, and I said, I just saw you listed as the science person on this website. Are you kidding? He said, no. He said, I was blown away also. It's absolutely amazing. So, fascinating, fantastic. I have many patients that I now have on this patch. For more information on that, again, don't copy it down, you'll get the slides. You go to that website, that's what the patch looks like. It's called glutathione, and you'd have to click on the website, products, and then science, and then scroll down to a new way to increase glutathione levels. Then you can read the study yourself. And you could download and read the article. It's all there. And the fact that Steve said it was legitimate was what made me bring it in, and it is legitimate. It's absolutely unbelievable. However, I am not endorsing any other patch this company makes. Not because they don't work, because I haven't tested them. And I won't believe them until I take a look at them. So maybe some are good and some are bad. I have no idea. I'm only saying the glutathione patch is terrific. Do not bother to work on detoxification if you're still putting so many poisons in your body every day that you're still going backwards. We want to go forwards. So don't work on detoxification if you're still bathing in chlorinated water. You're still brushing with fluoridated toothpaste. You're putting a cancer-causing agent in your mouth every day, and you're doing detox? You haven't already switched over to organic food if you can afford it, or as much as you can. If your soaps and lotions are still filled with parabens and sodium lauryl sulfate and polyethylene glycol, which is antifreeze, you're still putting this stuff in. If you're using fragranced air fresheners or plug-ins instead of the really good ones from places like Trader Joe's and certain health food stores that are just, let's say, an orange oil concentrate with, compressed air, those are fine. If your cleansers in your house, for your kitchen or your bathroom, have either ammonia or chlorine in them, you're putting this stuff in your body all the time. If you are using an antiperspirant, excuse me, one of the best ways to detox is sweating. Do not ever tell your body, we're going to turn off the sweat glands. You're not allowed to sweat anymore. Sorry. No, not if you're trying to get poisons out. Furniture, clothing, carpeting, almost all new furniture and bedding is doused with fire retardant and stain retardant chemicals. Carpeting outgasses this stuff, including formaldehyde, for probably between 6 and 18 months, depending on the temperature and airflow. New cars outgas numerous toxins for a similar amount of time and should never be purchased by a sensitive individual or somebody with a weakened immune system or cancer. Somebody comes into my office, they've got cancer. I take a look in my closed-circuit TV. They just drove up. Did you borrow somebody's car? No, I bought a new car. You don't remember what I told you when you first came in here. You don't want to be in a new car. You're trying to get rid of cancer, and you've got all the new car smell chemicals coming into you every day. Bad idea. Carpeting, same thing. I don't have these sensitivities, and I still have a 25-year-old car with 309,000 miles on it, and no Wi-Fi and no Bluetooth, because they didn't have them in cars back then. So the newest and very toxic non-chemical, which is barely being spoken about at all, just barely. And if you watch these two documentaries, you'll get some good information. Generation Zapped, that's us. And Take Back Your Power, excellent documentaries. Watch some of the presentations in the wireless area of my website. And use a corded landline whenever possible, and donate all your cordless phones to people who don't care about their health, because wireless is the new non-chemical that's hurting us all. Plug your Wi-Fi router into a timer so it turns off at night and turns back on in the morning, so at least when you're asleep, you're not being bathed in all sorts of harming your body frequencies. I mean, that's just silly. I have none anyway. Do all your web surfing and emailing on a wired computer, laptop, or tablet, not your immune-harming, cancer-causing stupid phone. And yes, there are Windows and Apple wired Ethernet connectors that you can plug into a tablet and plug a wired Ethernet into it after you've turned off the transmitters. I have both. I have shown them to people in my office. They do exist. Health is not convenient. I'm sorry. I apologize. I want as good a memory at 97 as I have today at 67. My entire house is hardwired. I don't need Wi-Fi to connect. I'm using cables. My router's Wi-Fi transmitters are always turned off. Diet is important for detoxification as well. If you want long-term health, you really should, as much as you can, be eating a high, good-fat, low-bad-fat diet with lots of grass-fed butter, grass-fed ghee, organic coconut oil, palm fruit oil, extra virgin olive oil. Go to extravirginity.com, that's not on the slide, as one of the really good websites to learn a little bit about extra virgin olive oil. You should never be consuming canola oil, soy oil, corn oil, and cottonseed oil. Those are toxic. Keep your blood sugar and your HA1C low and level by avoiding all starches, sugars, and alcohol, even fruit. I cover that in my book. Eating properly raised meats, which are 100% grass-fed and grass-finished, and lamb and pasture-raised eggs. It's also helpful to read some of the books or watch some of the documentaries. Primal Fat Burner, fantastic book. I only disagree with her on one thing in the whole book. She doesn't like any dairy. I have no problem with grass-fed organic dairy that's raw. The Paleocardiologist, he did a great job. The Big Fat Surprise is the best book on healthy fats and oils and how we got misled. And In Search of the Perfect Human Diet is the best of all the documentary movies that I've ever seen. And I think you can even get that from some of the places online. If you wish to be kept informed of any time I find out something that I think is fantastic and I wish everybody knew it, well, I can't get to everybody. But I can get the people that have subscribed to my website who almost never hear from me. I might send something out in 3 months, But nonetheless, if you subscribe on my website, anything I find out is going to go out to you. Like I said, very, very few emails. Not even close to monthly. But if you subscribe there, I will let you know if there's something there. Go to davidgetoff.com, just fill out the subscribe stuff on the bottom. And I spend a lot of time with my own patients. Time is required to teach detoxification, proper dietary facts, to examine their lab tests. It's required to examine their diet log, which I require a 1-week diet log, to read and answer all the questions on their intake forms, which are many, many pages. My initial consultation is 3 to 5 hours. And there's an initial consultation area on my website. If you click on that and listen to the audio and read the text, they are not the same. You can find out if anybody's interested in coming to see me. And relaxation are a very important part of health and detox. And I badly miss the fact that I am now in a hotel and my kiddies are 100 miles away in El Cajon. So that's the big thing, is I go to bed, when I wake up in the morning, there's nobody on my lap upstairs. Thank you for your attention. David, thank you so much.